There will be spoilers for the new Chucky TV show in this video. It should say it in the title. I'm saying it right now, so if you have a problem with spoilers, get the fuck out.
My buddy, my buddy, my buddy, my buddy. Wherever I go, he goes. My buddy, my buddy, my buddy, my buddy, my buddy and me.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is the world's wokest warrior, primitive-sided, toxic fanboy aligned with the like-minded, Tony Tone Deaf rockin' with you. I want to welcome one and all to the Clown World Review. And if you've been here before, welcome back. If this is that first time, please like this video. Think about hitting that subscribe button. Help independent content creators like myself out. And enough with that. Let's jump right into the meat of this. Today we are reviewing Chucky Season 1, Episode 1, Death by Misadventure, with an air date of October 12th, 2021. This episode was written by Don Mancini, Nick Ziegler, and Sarah Acosta. Directed by Don Mancini as well, the great Don Mancini returning, I'm not sure if it's exactly his creation, but Mancini's been around since the beginning, and he might possibly be the creator of Chucky, the original creator. I'll have to fact check myself on that. In November of 1988, the world of horror changed forever. Child's Play may not have been the first killer doll to hit the scene, but it did become the definitive franchise for twisting the innocence of childhood into a bloody massacre for your entertainment and mine. Those first two movies, and to a lesser extent, Child's Play 3, are some of my favorite horror movies to ever be produced. Serial killer Charles Lee Ray uses the Infinity Stones to transfer his soul into a good guy doll that is then gifted to little Andy Barkley. The problem is that if old Charles spends too much time in his plastic carcass, he will be doomed to that body for what is apparently an eternity, because you can't kill this asshole. Chucky chases Andy around for a couple movies, hoping to possess Andy's body so that Charles Lee Ray may have another shot at being human. After the first three movies, the franchise took what I consider kind of a comedic route, a very self-ironic route, where it just didn't take itself as serious anymore. And I believe The Bride of Chucky was actually the last movie that I've seen. I'm going to go back and I'm going to watch The Seed, The Cult, and The Curse of Chucky. They actually have them on Peacock this month, so I'm looking forward to those, because this show, it's reinvigorated my passion for this franchise. I used to love Chucky. I saw the first movie, I was probably a little too young, about 7-8 years old when it first hit VHS. My older brother Mikey showed it to me. My dad wasn't too pleased, but I was in love. Now, this series, it kind of returns, it's a modernized take, don't get me wrong, but number one, it's not woke. Number two, it kind of takes what was great about the original Child's Play franchise and returns to that in a modern setting. Given it's a little more mild than the movies might be, but we did get 4 F-bombs on Sci-Fi, so shout out to them. This pilot episode did a wonderful job of connecting the audience to the new characters and giving the cast depth through believable personality traits and issues that people in these situations would deal with and react to. The writers were able to build a strong tension with the audience being aware of Chucky's possession of the good guy doll while our characters remained ignorant, and that made for some interesting situations. By the end of the episode, I was hooked, and I can't wait to see what comes next for the series. So far, the show is Chucky attempting to make Jake Weber's life worth living by systematically eliminating those in his life who tease or give Jake shit, up to and including friends and family members. In fact, what fun would it be if it wasn't friends or family members? Jake Weber, played by Zachary Arthur, is the series lead alongside Brad Dourif's Chucky. Jake is an awkward, closeted teenage artist who doesn't quite fit in with the rest of the class. The people in his life have done the math and kind of realized that Jake is gay. I wouldn't say that's the reason he doesn't fit in, though. He's just had a rough life. He lost his mother when he was young, and he was forced to live with his abusive, alcoholic father Lucas, who doesn't support Jake's artistic dreams and abilities. On top of that, Jake's extended family, his cousin Junior notably, Aunt Bree, and his father's brother, Uncle Logan, come from a more affluent household, leading Junior to tease Jake about being gay, about his financial situation, and ultimately leading to Lucas destroying Jake's art projects by the time this family dinner is over. Lucas also tells his son to get rid of all the dolls. Jake, though unique, is a sweet kid who doesn't want to see people get hurt and can't stand the sight of blood when they were asked to dissect a frog in school. A frog that would go on to drink the water in Jersey, turn gay himself, and then fall victim to the hand of Chucky. And if you've seen this episode yet, you know what I mean. Maybe not about the gay stuff. Now again, Lucas is Jake's father and he is a working stiff. Life didn't necessarily turn out the way that Lucas had hoped. He's stuck in a job that he obviously hates. I believe it's his own business, and business ain't been booming lately. He's raising his son all by himself, and his son is not turning out the way Lucas had hoped. Now that may sound a little harsh, but let's remember Lucas isn't necessarily the best person or father. Now Lucas's brother Logan has been successful in life, leaving Lucas to feel inadequate, and to cope, Lucas drinks a lot of hard alcohol and takes his regrets and insecurities out on his son in the form of both mental and physical abuse. Now don't get me wrong, he does care about his boy, but like many aspects of his life, he just plain handles it the wrong way. Daddy is the type to ungracefully barge headfirst into a situation without thinking of the outcomes of his words or actions, or more importantly, he doesn't empathize with the people in his life. Lucas attempts to push Jake to be more normal and to date more girls, and tells Jake to give up on his passions and to take more of a grounded and realistic approach to life, which has obviously made Lucas miserable. At the end of the day, Lucas is kind of a simpleton who gets angry and frustrated with the things that he doesn't understand, and there is a lot in life that he doesn't understand, so it's no wonder why life hasn't exactly gone as planned. Now, Lucas will find success at the end of this episode with one of the more fun and creative deaths that I've seen from Chucky, though when I first saw Lucas headed downstairs, I was beginning to think he was going to get a
"How's it hanging, Phil?"
moment, and I wouldn't have minded that either, but I preferred creativity over nostalgia. Now, Jake's cousin Junior is a bit of a confusing character. It's like he has no issue personally teasing and bullying his cousin Jake, but when someone else does it, the show kind of hints at Junior feeling empathy towards his cousin, but then they'll get alone again and you think they'd have a real moment or something, and Junior's being a dick again. Now, Junior is well on his way to becoming an Eagle Scout. He's the best distance runner in his school since his father attended, and he's on his way to Harvard in a few years. I'm not sure what to make of him yet, but if I did have any critiques of the show, the writers need to clear up Junior's motive in the next few episodes, because right now I don't know what's going on with him. He'll be a total dick one moment, and then sitting in the school cafeteria feeling bad that everybody else is teasing his cousin. And then he'll go on to be a dick again, so I mean, what is it, bro?
What is it?
Then there was Junior's girlfriend, Lexi Taylor, the most popular girl in school, and when she's first portrayed in the show, she's portrayed as a kind soul who feels for Jake's situation, asks him if he needs any help, says there's nothing wrong with being financially disadvantaged. But when Jake goes to leave and Junior and Lexi are left alone on the scene, you see how calloused and how conceited this woman actually is. Like, the whole thing was being passive-aggressive, but they did a good job of fooling the audience at first into thinking she was a caring person. Now, Lexi almost became Chucky's first human victim, but was saved due to circumstances of the scene. Then she kind of brushed it off as she smokes too much weed. Lexi is on Chucky's radar though, and she gets a small taste of comeuppance and a small sample of what she's going to get in the future. And her comeuppance was actually very creative and probably my favorite scene in this episode. Now, they're at the school talent show. She's on stage talking and greeting the audience and everything on the mic, and she comes so close to announcing to the student body that Jake actually has a crush on fellow classmate and hack and slash podcaster Devin Lopez, who is just Miles Morales with extra steps. But Chucky is able to defend Jake, who Chucky is starting to feel a bit of sympathy for. I know, right? It's Chucky. But he's starting to feel for this kid a little bit because of the bullying at home, the bullying at school. So, Chucky's like, I'll have your back, and I'll have your back like no one else will. Just hand me a fucking knife. But yeah, so back to the talent show. She's about to announce Jake's feelings towards Devin, and Chucky basically tells her to shut up. Everyone's looking around. Jake looks behind him and is freaked out. There's this good guy doll again, which weird things have been happening around this doll through the whole episode. The cat goes missing. His frog that he was going to dissect, he went to cut it open, and the blood kind of freaked Jake out. So he turns his head away so he doesn't have to look at it. Chucky's sitting right next to him. Jake turns his head back around, and this frog is pretty slashed up. Even the teacher was like, that's not what we wanted, Jake. So anyway, Jake, I was wondering how they were going to pull this off too, because Chucky's basically telling Lexi to fuck off. In this room full of people, he's sitting behind Jake, so Jake turns around, picks him up. Chucky kind of nonchalantly whispers something in his ear, and they portray it like a ventriloquist act, which that is my favorite scene of the episode. I just loved how they did this. Chucky goes up there, he pulls out Lexi's phone that he happened to acquire earlier when she almost became his first human victim, and he basically puts Lexi on blast. The whole audience loves it. He starts calling out individual people in the audience, and then calls them all fucking assholes. And yes, he said fucking assholes on Sci-Fi, so I love it. And I was so into this show, I didn't even notice at first. I was messaging back and forth with E-Tep Wakuian from E-Tep Wakuians Place to Be Reviews, and he said, I can't believe they dropped an F-bomb on Sci-Fi, and I'm, oh yeah, they did, huh? Because, you're used to Chucky dropping F-bombs, so it kind of, I didn't think twice about it. So, yeah, Chucky calls the entire student body and their parents fucking assholes, and the principal pulls Jake and Chucky off stage. Jake ends up getting suspended because of that. So let's move on to Chucky. Brad Dourif is back once again to voice the iconic serial killer doll. And there's not much that can be said as far as his performance because it was solid as always. And it's good to have Killer Chucky back instead of the comedic route they took in those other movies. And again, I haven't seen them all, so maybe they kind of veered back towards horror and like the Cult of Chucky, the Curse of Chucky. I'm gonna check those out this month, I promise. But between returning to the roots of this Child's Play franchise, on top of solid writing, good storytelling, I think this show has a bright future, and I'm excited to see what comes next. But I am curious to see how long Chucky and Jake can pull this off before the detectives are hot on Jake's trail, because wherever he's going, people are dying around him. Weird things are happening. I even checked to see if this was a limited series, because I just don't see how this can be sustainable for long. The police are already questioning Jake, and we're on the first episode. And it's kind of the same feeling I got from watching Walter White in Breaking Bad. Just how long can he keep this up? How can they keep this going multiple seasons? How's he not going to get popped? That kind of thing. So I'm excited to see, because as of now, I got Chucky fever. If I'm not mistaken, it seems like this show will delve into the backstory of Charles Lee Ray as well, which, I could do without. I don't need to know why he became a serial killer. Chucky has spent his career attempting to humanize himself. I don't need the writers to do that for him. But it looks like they are going in that route. We got a little segment, a little clip at the beginning of the show, what looked like Chucky's point of view, running up on some woman doing her makeup in the mirror, and then the very last scene was her turning around, seeing him, and Charles, and it's Chucky's mom. She picks up her boy, you see little Charles Lee Ray in the mirror with her, and then the show goes off the air. So I think we're going to get little tidbits on every episode, just kind of filling us in on where Charles Lee Ray came from. Again, that's not some, even the Star Wars prequel. Yeah, I wanted to see how Darth Vader was made. It may not have gone the way I would have imagined, but I don't think I've ever asked where Charles Lee Ray came from. He was just a serial killer who knew some voodoo shit and transferred his soul into a doll. And that's all I need. Some of my final thoughts on episode 1 of Chucky, Death by Misadventure. The acting on this show was good, and the characters came off as believable, though nothing's wrong with a little cheesiness in my horror movies, but this show didn't need it, and it probably would have taken away, but God, I love cheesy acting in horror movies. At least one or two of the people, it's like the grilled cheese sandwich, when it's not evenly cooked, but you kind of got that fade going on, like it's darker in this corner and then lightens up a bit. That's how I look at cheesy acting in my horror movies. Now, again, my favorite scene, it walked the line in between cheesy and genius, but the ventriloquist scene, it just worked for me. It was creative, it was very well done, and again, it had me thinking in the beginning when Chucky first started talking, how's he going to pull this off? How's he going to keep his secret? He's literally talking in front of like 200 people, but they went with ventriloquism. I don't think that's something that's been done in the Chucky movies before, so it was great. And again, it's been a few years since I've seen the first 3 Child's Play, so I'm going to go back and watch them. Maybe they did do something ventriloquism in there, but I don't think so. No complaints about it on my end. And also, what's going on with Andy Barclay? Because he made a small cameo in this episode. He wasn't on screen, but he called Jake and told Jake to check for batteries. He asked if the doll's name was Chucky, started freaking Jake out a bit. Then he asks Jake to hold on. Jake says okay, and then he says, "Are you there? Is anyone there?" And just the line clicked. So even hanging up on Jake or whatever, it just left me with my head scratching. I can't wait to see what happens next. Do you think Andy Barclay might die in this series? If there was anywhere to do it, and I don't want to see Andy die. We already had to see John Connor die, Luke Skywalker die. I don't want to see Andy Barclay die. Like, talk about all hope being lost. But I think we might see the demise of Andy Barclay in this series. So what do you think about that? Let me know in the comments. Let me know what you think's going to happen. Time will reveal all. Did you enjoy this series? Did you enjoy this review? Please let me know, and again, hit that like button. Please subscribe to the Clown World Review. We are up and coming. We're actually about a year old now, and I'm very proud. We're at 178 subscribers. Look, I know some people can grab like 60,000 subscribers in their first year. I got tits, but obviously it ain't working for me. So I appreciate each and every one of you, and even if you're not subscribed, just checking out this video, staying on this long, hearing me ravel on about Child's Play. It means the world to me. Thank you very much. We'll be back soon. If you're into wrestling, check out Tuesday nights. We have the Monday Night War retrospective, where me and a bunch of my friends get together. We review the Monday Night War week by week. We go over who won each week. Was it Nitro? Was it WWE Raw? WWF Raw? And we just have a lot of fun, so come check that out. I'm thinking about starting some kind of not paranormal live stream, but where we're talking about the pyramids in outer space, the lost city of Atlantis. Those are things I love to talk about. So let me know what you think about that in the comment section as well. I love you all, and remember, they are not pop culture, they are agenda. We are pop culture.
Sit, Ubu, sit. Good dog.